Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this virtual meeting of North Tyneside Council's Cabinet. My name is Norma Redfern, and I'm the elected Mayor for North Tyneside, and I will be chairing this meeting this evening. I would like to inform everyone that this meeting is being live streamed on the Council's YouTube channel to enable the public to observe the proceedings, and I welcome anyone who is watching. Before we move on to the agenda, I would like to make it clear who is participating in the meeting. In order to check who is in the meeting, I would like everyone, and I'll ask everyone present to confirm their attendance. First of all, I will call out the names of each cabinet member. After I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and introduce yourself. And please state your poll for your area. Councillor Bruce Pickard, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Bruce Pickard. I'm the Councillor for Riverside Ward and Deputy Mayor with responsibility for regeneration, planning policy, business and economic development. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Gary Bell.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Councillor Gary Bell, former councillor and also the cabinet member for adult social care.
Councillor Carol Burdis.
Councillor Carol Burdis, cabinet member for community engagement and safer North Tyneside and the community voluntary sector.
Thank you. Councillor Steve Cox.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm Councillor Steve Cox. I'm a councillor for Collingwood Ward and I'm the council cabinet member for housing.
Councillor Sarah Day.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Councillor Sarah Day. I have responsibility for culture, leisure and sport.
Thank you. And Councillor Peter Early.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Councillor Peter Early. I'm the cabinet member for children, young people and learning.
Councillor Ray Glindon.
Thank you, Mayor. I can't get my camera on, so unfortunately I'll just have to put my picture up. I'm Councillor Ray Glindon from Camperdown Ward. My duties on the cabinet are a member for finance and resources.
Thank you, Councillor Glindon. Councillor Margaret Hall.
Good evening, I'm Margaret Hall. I'm councillor for Whitley Bay and I'm cabinet member for public health and wellbeing.
And Councillor Carl Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Carl Johnson. I am the cabinet member for environment and transport.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the officers in attendance to introduce themselves. And after I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and introduce yourself. Paul Hanson.
Good evening, Mayor, Cabinet, everybody else. My name is Paul Hanson. I'm Chief Executive of North Tyneside Council.
Bryn Roberts.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Cabinet. My name is Bryn Roberts. I'm the Head of Law and Governance and I'm the Monitoring Officer.
Janice Gillespie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janice Gillespie. I'm Head of Resources for the Authority and Chief Finance Officer.
Phil Scott.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Scott. I'm the Head of Environment, Housing and Leisure.
And now Dave Brown.
Hello, everyone. My name's Dave Brown from Law and Governance.
Thank you. Now, I understand Wendy Burke, our Director of Public Health, has another meeting and will join us as soon as she can. Can I now ask the young Mayor and our partners who are in attendance to introduce themselves? And after I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and do introduce yourself. Susie McKenzie.
Hi everyone, I'm Susie McKenzie and I'm the young Mayor for North Tyneside.
Robin Fry.
We have apologies from Robin, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Karen Goldfinch.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. It's Karen Goldfinch, chairs North Tyneside Business Forum, Cabinet Partner representing businesses in North Tyneside.
Thank you. And I gather we have apologies from Janice Hutton from Northumbria, please.
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
Roger Layton.
Hello, I'm Roger Layton. I'm the Joint Secretary to the Joint Trade Unions. Thanks.
Thank you. And Dawn McNally.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dawn McNally, the Chief Executive of Age UK North Tyneside, representing the people.
Now, is there anyone present who I've missed? No, that's grand. Can I just remind you in terms of the etiquette for the meeting that please mute your microphone and turn off the video unless you're speaking. And for today's meeting, we must first of all deal with some formalities. First of all, apologies for absence.
Apologies, Madam Mayor, from Robin Fry from the voluntary sector and Janice Hutton from Northumbria Police.
Thank you very much, David. And can we confirm the minutes of the last meeting?
Agreed.
Agreed. From the 22nd of February, thank you very much. And can we receive any declarations of interest and notification of any dispensations granted? Are there any? No? Grand. Well, on to item 4, and I would like to ask Susie, our young mayor, to give her report. Off you go, Susie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm pleased to report that the Youth Council committees are working very well. Most committees have met with a cabinet member and a lead officer, which has been very helpful, and everyone's been very supportive. The rest of the committees have lead adults booked into their forthcoming meetings, and it's very reassuring to know that we have the support of decision makers within North Tyneside Council. Youth Council has reviewed the YMCA's Changing Minds website. The website is a collection of videos on how to address commonly experienced mental health concerns in young people, such as feelings of sadness, body confidence, and many other emotions. There's a drop-down box which, if clicked on, takes you to a variety of helpful videos which offer the tools to help with your well-being. Overall, the youth councillors were very positive about Changing Minds, but recommended that it is accessible and to all young people in the borough. This could be achieved by schools sending out the link to students as part of their regular contact. The Education and Enterprise Committee are continuing their work on the first book of a series for young people. The project is going well and they are now registered with the Young Enterprise Programme. They want to thank North Tyneside Business Forum again for their support and sponsorship. The committee members are working closely with an illustrator who has created their main characters. The Children's Council helped the committee with their research for the monster character. A recent visitor to the committee, Rachel Walkup from Libraries and Children's Outreach Services, has been very helpful in highlighting important elements of young people's literature. The committee are very grateful for the support they have received from so many people. The Increased Opportunities Committee were very pleased that students from 10 different schools in the borough have responded to their survey. Students confirmed that only a few schools have sanitary products in the female toilets. Many young women and girls spend time tracking down the responsible person in their school to get access to free products, which quite often can be embarrassing and a long drawn-out process. The Free Flow project aims to change the practice by sending out each high school, middle school and special school a free box of products with a poster display with a recommendation that products are readily available in the female toilets. The committee members believe that they should be monitored and refilmed by the same person who has the responsibility for replacing the toilet tissue. The BAME committee have been working with Digital Voice project to create a video about young asylum seekers and refugees who come to live in North Tyneside. Once the film is completed, it will be sent to schools to be shared on social media to show some of the experiences of young people who have fled their home countries. The committee hopes that this will help people better understand and lead to greater tolerance. The Equalities Committee were very pleased that they received over 600 responses from students for the survey they sent to schools. The committee wanted to know the extent of sexism in schools. The results showed that most young people think that there should be more education to raise awareness for students, and it also showed most people said that there should be more training for teachers around appropriate language and how to deal with complaints. Respondents talked a lot about their PE curriculum and dress codes. The results of the survey will be shared with the schools who took part. In March, I was pleased to be a part of the launch of the Seal in a Box project at the Spanish Dome. The seal sculpture is a visual reminder of the traumas suffered by our wildlife when people are careless enough of how they dispose of their litter. We hope that this reminder will encourage people to take their litter home with them. We are excited to learn that this is part of a much bigger initiative in reducing single-use plastic in the borough. The many water fountains that are being installed along the coast and in some parks should make a big impact in changing people's habits. Youth councillors and the Centre Youth Forum have contributed to the North Tyneside Council's COVID recovery programme by talking about the challenges of the last year and how they are looking ahead to the future. Members of the SEND Forum are talking about their concerns over losing skills that they have learned pre-COVID. For example, independent travel on public transport. Confidence in their own ability has been badly affected, and we hope that extra support can be available to people who have missed opportunities to build their skills. The Children and Care Council are continuing to meet virtually. They have been busy working on homes and foster carers, and will be meeting senior managers to discuss this and the plans for social work teams. They've been involved in recruitment for new staff teams and are planning their regional work and their annual regional campaign. Member of Youth Parliament Abby met with Mary Glindon MP, and they had a good meeting discussing the work of the Youth Council committees. Mary has been very helpful by providing the report from the Environmental Audit Committee. Abby and the Environment Committee will use the document to help inform their plans for the group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susie. Well, first of all, when I read the report today, I just realised how well your new committees are working. They seem to be much more efficient and more focused than in the past. Is that how your fellow councillors are feeling?
Yes, definitely. The youth councils are enjoying the more focused projects and getting down to it.
Really good. And really, to be quite, once again, I want to congratulate you on all the amazing projects you're involved with, to be quite honest. And some of them really are extremely important, really important issue that we here at council are trying to address. And it's really good that our young people are getting involved as well, because quite often you're able to take the message to our younger people where we as the councillors can't reach them. So I'm really pleased about that, and thank you so much. Delighted to see that Abby had met with Mary Glindon, our MP, to be quite honest, because I know Mary has a great interest in the environment as well as Abby, and I'm sure they'll work well together. And, you know, I'm sure our MP Mary will give Abby a great deal of support and help whenever she needs it, to be quite honest. So once again, well done. But what I'm pleased about, Susie, is that we've come to the end of the year, but you're not leaving us. You're going to stay with us for another year because you have had a very difficult year. And so is Abby as well. So I look forward once again seeing all the wonderful things you're involved with. And I just say I'm so proud of you, to be quite honest. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to comment on this work? Karen, yes.
I just wanted to second what you've just said there, really. The Youth Council have done such an amazing job this year in such difficult times, and it's been really encouraging to see the work that you've done, Susie, and how you're looking to the future as well, which is really exciting to see. And obviously we've been working with Ruby and Abigail and Oscar and whatever, and the team doing the book. And as a business forum, we're really excited to see how that develops. So I just want to say hats off to you. And some of the initiatives you've got going are just fabulous. For me as a business owner, and for representing businesses throughout North Tyneside, seeing that the next generation are coming through, it just gives me goosebumps. And I don't usually do that, but you really do. So you really do inspire a lot of your generation as well. So hats off to you for doing all this as well in this hard year. So
we have some amazing young people, don't we, Karen? Amazing young people in North Tyneside.
We do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Roger, would you like to come in?
Yes, it was just to reassure Susie that I believe that the teaching unions in North Tyneside would be fully supportive of identification of sexism and racism in the classroom. I'm sure they would collaborate with you. We can communicate through the unions, but they would definitely support what you've said about the initiative. It's fantastic work. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Roger. Does anyone else want to come in? No, I think you've got the feeling, you've got the idea that we're all extremely proud of you. And you're not just playing around as young councillors, you're doing some valuable, excellent work. So thank you so much indeed. Okay, we now are on to the reports on the main agenda. And this agenda contains 4 reports requiring decisions at the meeting. I will take each of the reports in turn in the order they appear on the agenda, which has been published on the council's website. For each of this report, I will ask the relevant Cabinet member to introduce this item. I will then ask members if they have any questions and will then ask if any members wish to make a comment on the report. And then I will ask members to approve the recommendations contained in this report. And the first item is item 5, which is the financial management report up to the 31st of January. And I think that's Councillor Glindon, I would imagine.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Pleased to present to Cabinet the 5th Budget Monitoring Report for the current financial year, which reflects the forecast financial position at the 31st of January 2021. We all know that budget monitoring is vitally important for 10 months of the financial year and builds in known pressures and mitigating actions to give an estimate of our financial position at the end of March 2021. The report is being prepared on a prudent basis, as you would expect, and it's crucial that the Cabinet acknowledge the financial pressures being faced. Like all local authorities, North Tyneside Council has felt the impact of ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and as such, the report contains considerations to the financial impact the pandemic will have on the authority. We have updated the forecast based on the latest government guidance and patterns we saw during the previous lockdowns, and we think this is an important estimate of the outturn position. Current indications are the COVID-19 funding received to date from the central government does not cover all the anticipated costs and lost incomes. Taking the general fund first, it is forecast that without further actions, there is a pressure of just over £3 million against the budget, compared to £1.5 million in November 2020. The change is substantial as a result of the impact of further lockdown, with additional loss of income from our catering and leisure services being forecast. This is a reduction in the forecast pressure for normal businesses actively into just over £50,000, a small improvement since the last report to Cabinet in November. In terms of schools, the total expected deficit for 2020-2021 is £6.775 million. Cabinet will be aware that the authority has been working with the schools for a number of years with regard to the long-term strategic issue of surplus secondary places and the associated financial pressures, which continue to be compounded by rising employment costs. As well as the school balances reducing overall, some individual schools continue to face significant financial challenges. There are 10 schools reporting deficits at the monitoring 2 in January 2021, with 7 of these schools continuing to be in deficit following 2019-2020, and 3 schools that are now in deficit in 2020-21. We continue to see the demand for special schools. We continue to see demand for special schools, special places, impacting on the high needs block. Cabinet will recall that the high needs block ended 2019-2020 with an overspend of £4.5 million. Current forecasting of the budget position for 2020-21 indicates an anticipated further in-year pressure of just over £4 million, reflecting a further rise in demand for special school places. Moving to the HRE, I'm happy that the report there is no major issues in respect of the HRE with regards to the normal activity, although services is currently forecasting an in-year pressure of £300,000. The service has also identified a potential of £1.6 million of COVID-19 related costs. The service continues to monitor the impact of welfare reform on the rent collection, taking the investment plan next. Details are included in the annex. The project will be delivered this year, and officers have carried out a detailed review of the plan, resulting in a proposed level of reprogramming of £8.3 million in the variations of 0.9 million. Cabinet are advised to approve the recommendations in the report, and these are set out in section 1.2 of the Cabinet report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glindon. Have we got any questions for Councillor Glindon about this particular report? Councillor Carol Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not a question, it's more comments.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank Councillor Glindon for fetching this really comprehensive report. Because if you're not, like up to speed on figures on all of the aspects within the authority, this gives you a flavour of everything that's going on at this particular point in time, whilst I know that it's where we are at the moment. So I just would like to thank the officers and Councillor Glindon for this report.
Thank you, Councillor Bird. Is anyone else? Well, I would just like to thank Councillor Glindon and the officers as well, because this has been, I mean, every year for the last year has been difficult, because you all know over the last 10 years we've been cut by 127 million. So it's always been difficult. But this year in particular, what with the COVID and the cuts as well, has been extremely difficult. And to get at this point in time where we are, when I read that report, I just want to thank Councillor Glindon and the officers. Thank you so very, very much. I know there's a great need now for our young children with special needs. I know, because I keep up to date with what's happening, a lot of children are being actually identified with certain problems that for some years had not even been recognised as a problem, to be quite honest. And we've had to deal with that, because every child deserves support, wherever they are and whatever the conditions are or whatever their needs are, and we'll continue to do our best. But in these very difficult times, thanks, Councillor Glindon, thanks to your officers, much appreciated. Can we now approve the recommendations contained in the report?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you so much. We're now on to item 6, which is the Cabinet response to Children, Education and Skills subgroup report. And I'm going to ask Councillor Early to do this for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Being ready for school is a key priority set out within our North Tyneside plan. We know that giving children the best start in life is crucial, and with a range of gaps in health and education outcomes for children from disadvantaged communities only gets wider as children get older. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on children and young people has only increased the need for us as an authority, working with our partners to ensure children get the best support in their early years. For those reasons, I was pleased that the Children, Education and Skills Committee decided to establish a subgroup to review the authority's approach to supporting children's readiness for schools. The subgroup made 6 recommendations which were considered by Cabinet on 22nd of February. These recommendations focus on regular communication between the authority, schools and private nurseries, the early help assessment process, additional support to private nurseries, engagement and consultation between all partners regarding the approach to school readiness, and writing to the Secretary of State regarding levels of funding for school readiness. Cabinet is recommended to accept all 6 recommendations. An action plan appended to the report sets out actions that the authority will take forward in relation to these recommendations. As a Cabinet, I know that we are all fully committed, as is clear in our North Tyneside plan, to doing everything we can to support children to be ready for school. Therefore, I am grateful to the subgroup for the work they have undertaken and the recommendations made, which I am confident will further strengthen the great work we do as an authority and with our partners to support all the children in North Tyneside.
Has anybody got any questions for Councillor Early? Any comments for Councillor Early then? Yes, Councillor Hall.
Yes, I would like to just make a comment about the lack of or how much Sure Start played in these roles all years ago, and that what a step backwards we've had to take because of the funding, etc. I can only hope that this goes as smoothly as possible and these very, very young children get to the point where they can get to school ready and able to participate straight away in the learning of things, lessons in the school classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Anyone else? Can I just say, Councillor Early, that as far as I'm concerned, that I think everyone should be aware or is aware of how important those early years are, to be quite honest. For every child, a good start actually makes such a difference to them in their adult lives. So as a council, we are committed to do our best for our children in those early years, to be quite honest, to get them onto a road of success. So I just want to thank you and the councillors who are involved in this piece of work, to be quite honest. And despite all the cuts we've had, and despite, you know, Sure Start disappearing at the request of this government, I just want to say that we here in North Tyneside will do our very best to give our young children the best start they can have, to be quite honest, because we don't want to be responsible for actually lack of aspiration as they get older. We need to give them those early skills. We need to give them a love for learning in those very, very early years. So thank you so much for that work and the support you're giving them, Councillor Early. Can I ask members to approve the recommendations then?
Great.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Item 7 is the procurement plan, and that once again is over to you, Councillor Ray Glendon.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a slightly shorter report, this one, so you'll be happy with it. The purpose of this report is to ask Cabinet to delegate authority to officers in consultation with Cabinet members to agree to commence the procurement exercise for services and supplies to support the authority. The authority spends a significant sum with third parties on a range of services ranging from food to supply school meals, construction materials, carrying out robust tendering exercises, ensures the authority receives the best quality goods and services while maintaining value for money. The contract identified as Appendix 1 of the report will require the procurement exercises to be commenced in this financial year. Budgets associated with the contracts were identified and are within the existing budgets. It is approved that the procurement will provide an opportunity to support economic recovery in the wake of the COVID pandemic, where the appropriate tender exercise will encourage bids from smaller businesses where appropriate. From larger businesses will secure employment and apprenticeships together with commitments to environmental sustainability. Members should note that the appendix of the report was updated in anticipation of the additional grant funding, and additional procurement has been added. I would therefore ask Cabinet to approve the recommendations that are set out in section 1.2 of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glendon. Has anyone got any questions for Councillor Glendon on this particular report?
Again, not a question. It's not a question, but I just want to highlight one of the items that is coming up for this, and that's the domestic abuse services. I think that's a really important point, that because it's highlighted even more so during COVID. So I'm really pleased to see that that's actually there to help our vulnerable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Burders. And I'm sure our officers will ensure that we get value for money as well as quality as well. And who else has got the hand up there? I'm looking.
Steve Cox.
Sorry, Steve, I didn't realise that. Couldn't see. Despite the fact I have got my glasses in, but over to you, Councillor Cox.
No problem. Again, Madam Mayor, it's just a comment, just supporting what Councillor Glindon's just said about the importance of the supply chain and a lot of these issues that we're talking about with procurement. It can play a big part in supporting local businesses and bringing them back through this pandemic. So I just agree with the comments that he made regarding that. Thank you.
And for us in the council, it really is important, isn't it, that we do our best for our local businesses?
Yeah.
Because they not only do the supply things, but they actually employ people to work as well as jobs. So it's really important that we look down that alley and help those businesses in the borough. So can I now ask you to approve the recommendations contained in this report?
Agreed.
Thank you so much. Item 8, bus shelters contract, and I think that's going to be Councillor Carl Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. We have reissued this. We have previously had a contract with our long-term supplier. This is just an amendment to the original contract to update it to allow for digital advertising boards. What it does allow us to do is it allows us to continue with our previous arrangement where the contractor will service all the bus stations in North Tyneside on our behalf, that Nexus own, that we got from Nexus in the past, and in other authorities it doesn't happen. So it's a good service in North Tyneside and a good job. So just like to remove the recommendations as in the report, please, Matt.
Thank you. Anyone going to comment on that? Can I just ask Councillor Johnson that does everyone, I get lots of sort of inquiries about people wanting bush shelters at various places in the borough because they're standing out in the cold and standing out in the rain and on the corner of the street. It is an avenue, isn't it, for us to actually, if there is a real problem, for us to get some input into providing a bus shelter. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Nexus and Transport North East, the body who look after this in terms of our bus shelters, have in government cuts of their budget have cut the service in previous years. But the North East local councils last year in the budget ensured that this year there is a budget for new bus shelters around the region. So if residents do have areas where they want a bus shelter, would like to see one, there is potential, depending on the number of routes and the number of services that go through that area, that they could get one this year. So absolutely, there is potential for that this year.
Thank you very much. I think it's really important because not only have they cut the funding, but they've always cut the bus services as well. So some of our elderly people I've been talking to are waiting for hours and hours in the cold and the rain. So if you can possibly, we need to support them to get some kind of shelter, to be quite honest. I'm sure we will. Thank you very much, Councillor Johnson. Can we agree that report then?
Great.
Agreed.
Thanks so much. Well, I just want to say that concludes today's Cabinet meeting. I would like to thank you all for your attendance and any of the members of the public watching the live stream. I also wanted to, since this is the last Cabinet meeting of this year, I just want to thank everyone for their support. I want to thank everyone for the hard work. And I want to thank you, as far as I'm concerned, that you've been very helpful, all our partners, in making sure that we're doing the right thing for the residents in North Tyneside. So thank you for your support. It has been amazing. The people from the voluntary sector, the people from the business, the unions, the elderly who've been looking after the elderly, they've done a great deal to get us through this year, which has been extremely difficult. And for you to come along and attend these business and other meetings you come to, in making sure that we're actually working together, and that's really important, to do the best for the residents of North Tyneside. So thank you so much. The next meeting, would you believe, is at 6 o'clock on Monday, the 24th of May, 2021. And I think the details will be posted on the council website in due course. So as I know some of you are going off to do other things and you will be busy. So take care, and actually I wish you all luck if you're going out on safari doing some actually canvassing in this election time. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. And a big thank you to our officers and Dave Brown, who actually keeps these meetings going and keeps me right. I do appreciate that too. Thank you. So doing this in the technical age with all these things going on, it's not easy. So thank you all so very much. Much appreciated. Take care and stay safe.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.